Welcome to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. On today's episode, we have Hannah. Hannah is a very busy woman who works full-time and has, I believe, 7 side hustles, a lot of passions and business ventures that she pursues. And today we are particularly talking about one of them, that is Dear Brides. Dear Brides is a wedding content creation business. I'm excited for you to hear about this. It's a pretty new thing in the industry, and we also talk about a few of Hannah's other ventures as well, which I think you'll find interesting too. There is some great advice and tips in here. Let me know what you guys think and if you would consider having a professional content creator at your wedding. You may have seen Hannah pop up on your TikTok or Instagram feed before. And to check out some of her work and behind the scenes, you can pop over to our Instagram at the Kiwi Wedding Podcast, and you can check out all the different things that Hannah does linked in the show notes below. Enjoy this episode with Hannah. Hi Hannah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
You're not recently married, but you are a wedding vendor, so I'm excited for people to hear about what you are offering. And yeah, it's a bit of a new concept in New Zealand. But yeah, you're a very busy woman. You've got a bit on, you work full time and you have a lot of businesses. So can you tell me a bit about what you do, who you are, and yeah, a bit of an overview of all your ventures?
Yeah, no, like you said, I do have a few things on my plate at the moment while working full time. Currently work as a retail buyer, and that's really, really fun. But I also have 7 other things that I love to do on the side. One being Dear Brides, which is the reason why I'm here, which is the wedding content creation. And the second one's Dear Community, so it's like a community organization group for girls age 18 to 35 just to come together and kind of meet and hang out, because I realize that it's really hard to make friends these days. It's just not as easy as people think. I've created this nonprofit organization that's doing really well. So it's about 16 different cities around New Zealand. So that's cool. And then I have Dear the series, which is, you can kind of see the theme of the Dear. Dear the series is a series of guided journals, which is, kind of more along the self-reflection kind of line, and it's helping people discover more about who they are and what made them into the person they are. And then I have Dear Listener, which is my podcast. And then I have Everything Vintage, which is like a secondhand selling clothing account. And then I have my TikTok. I love being on TikTok. I love filming content, creating content. And then I also have 7, which is the 7th thing that I do, hence why I called it 7. It's 7 Content Studio, and it's like a social media management content creation agency. So yeah, very busy.
Amazing. So busy. Makes me tired hearing that, but very impressive. I admire your work ethic. That is crazy. So cool. So many exciting concepts and projects, and yeah, that's awesome. So we're going to get into talking a bit about Dear Brides more so today. So wedding content creation. A bit of a new thing here. So where did you get the idea, and have you found that you've needed to kind of educate people about what it is and why they might want one at their wedding?
Yeah, no, definitely. It is such a new concept, and it kind of came out in October 2022. That was when people started to first hear about it, and it happened over in America and the UK. And it's more about creating behind the scenes, like real kind of raw content, which is just shot on, it's like lo-fi content. It's shot on your iPhone, on like the best iPhone, and it's just to capture those moments that often go unseen. And so as soon as I heard about it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so me, because I have always been known as the person that is holding my camera, shooting content, and I love weddings. And I was like, why don't I do this? And I saw that no one else had done it in New Zealand. So in December, I launched Dear Brides, and I've kind of been growing from there, but definitely have to educate the New Zealand market, because I feel like New Zealand's a little bit behind in everyone else. And so they're kind of like slowly cottoning onto it now. And I think Sophia Richie's wedding really helped wedding content creators, because she posted this TikTok of her, and it was just shot by a friend. So it was quite, a little bit bad quality, but it just showed that it was like raw and real, and you didn't need to see this beautiful, perfect day. It was like, yeah, you can see the rawness and like the reality of the day, but it's still so beautiful. And the behind the scenes kind of aspect of one of my favorite shots is when the bride is getting ready to walk down the aisle. Often that's not captured because both the videographer and the photographer are standing there waiting to get the groom's response, and they're waiting to get, capture her walking down. So it's moments like that that often go unnoticed and you forget about it. But Dear Brides, like, we capture that because that is basically us, as we capture those moments that often go unseen. So yeah, definitely a lot of education. TikTok's been amazing though, but I love it.
Definitely like popping off on TikTok, or I don't know, I feel like that's how we find the trends. New Zealand's a bit late to the party sometimes when things are starting overseas. So yeah, that's a great place to find inspiration. You're not the like professional photographer or videographer. It's different to that. So yeah, can you talk about how it works, like somebody booking with you, and then yeah, what is sort of your role on the wedding day? You're getting those behind the scenes, but yeah, how it all works.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think just touching back on what you said before is that I often tell people we're not a substitute. We complement the photographer and the videographer. We don't get don't get a wedding content creator instead of all these other people, because you need to have the photographer, you need to have the videographer, and it's a way to kind of get all three to work together. So every package is actually completely bespoke. So we've moved away from standard packages where you just choose a package and you have to try and work that around your special day, because I thought it's just too rigid. You may as well have a package that's completely bespoke and personalized to your day. And so in order for us to do that, I set up a call with the couple, and we sit down just on Zoom. And this is just a great way for me to learn more about them and also find out what they're actually wanting from the whole wedding. And so we get to just get to know each other, work out their vision, work out how many videos they're wanting, what style of videos they're wanting, and just really get to learn about their day. Who else is going to be there? What other vendors? What's the style? And so after that, then that's when I'll go away and actually create a package, and work out, do they want camcorder? Do they want a film camera? Do they want these other packages, these other additions? And then I'll go away and create a package. Then we'll come back again for another call, and that's when we'll sit down and go, okay, what, does this work for your day? And it's a great way for them to go, yes, I like that aspect, I like that, maybe not that, and we can just chat about it then and there. So that's kind of how that works. And then after that, once we've decided on everything, then closer to the time, we'll come back and really discuss what they're truly wanting in terms of the shot list, in terms of what kind of video do they want. Do they want just one video where they're getting ready? Do they want another video where it's just the groomsmen getting ready? And that's when we discuss the different type of videos. And then the day comes, and hopefully everything usually just goes pretty smoothly because everything's already been planned out. We know what kind of videos we're going to have. We know what kind of music's going to go on behind the scenes, and so it's really really straightforward. And then the bride gets their footage the next day.
And that's so important. I feel like every wedding is different, so yeah, being bespoke and just fitting with what they want is the best way to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And if you're happy to talk about pricing, kind of ballpark figure, with, I know it's different for every single wedding, but how much are people looking at, or what can they expect with you?
So prices vary so much, from a lovely girl that I've just had a conversation with. She's got an Indian wedding that's going to be 5 different events compared to a person that just wants, 2 hours. So I can't really give a ballpark in terms of, because they're just so varied. But I think once we sit down and we go over what you actually want, that's when I'm able to really work out a package that's going to suit you and also for your budget as well. So it's all completely varied. So some of the videos that you can expect with Dear Brides is we can either go down the very natural route where it's just raw and authentic behind the scenes. Otherwise, you can also choose the trends which are going around on TikTok. If you want to jump on those trends, I'll help you. I'll collate a list and we can just go over them and go, okay, which one is trending currently? Because obviously if we're planning a 2025 wedding, we definitely want to revisit those trends. So that means we're hitting it so that when we do get to post in 2025, then they're still on trend and they're still cool. So we can either go down the trends route, do some cool transitions, which is very, very, very trendy. We could also just go down the very natural, nostalgic, beautiful, heartwarming kind of videos that have those beautiful piano soundtracks. So there's so many different videos that we can do, from fun, upbeat. The client can choose, the couple can choose their different soundtrack that they want. If there's a song that they really love, if there's a song that they did their first dance to, I can use that in the video as well. So it's completely customizable. You know, they can just choose exactly whatever they want. If they want 5 videos of the bride getting ready, we can do that. And we also have a second shooter as well that she's able to come along. She's amazing, exactly the same style as me. So she's more than happy to come along to those shoots that you want different angles. And if you want me to go off and get photos while the bride and groom are getting photos, she'll stay back and actually shoot the stuff that you don't get to see, which I think is so beautiful, because what does everyone do when you're away getting photos? You often forget about actually what happens. And usually the videographer and the photographer are with the couple getting photos. So it's really cool to have someone there capturing those moments that are often overlooked, which is the pure essence of Dear Brides, is capturing those moments that are often overlooked. And it means that you're able to see your wedding from a whole different lens.
Such a unique offering, and just bespoke service to just fit really what people want and what's on trend, or their needs. I love that. Do you find that it kind of encourages guests at the wedding to get off their phone, or I don't know, sometimes someone in the bridal party is trying to get all the behind the scenes, but it's sort of annoying that they're carrying their phone around everywhere. They've got their bouquet and they've got a job sort of on the day. So does that kind of encourage the guests to just like put their phone down? You've got it covered. It's all those kind of shots that they don't need to worry about.
Definitely. And I think also you can definitely tell that I am there, you know, to be a wedding content creator. I've got my gimbal, I'm walking around my gimbal. It's not like I'm just holding my phone and it stabilizes everything. It looks real good. But I think, it definitely does take that whole pressure away from the bridesmaids. I was a bridesmaid and shot some content, and it was really difficult because you want to shoot some content of behind the scenes of the photos, but you're often in the photos. So how are you going to get that content? And so, and you don't want to be holding it. You don't want to be carrying a bag. You want to be in the moment. And I think it's really important that if you give one of your friends the job to take content and they start to drink throughout the night, and by the end of the night, they're not going to be keen to take content. They're going to be just wanting to be on the dance floor. And I think it's unfair to basically give a friend that job, because really they want to be there to have fun and to celebrate you. And so it's just taking all that away and going, you know what, guys, we've got a wedding content creator here. You don't need to have your phones. And so that's always cool when they stand up the front and the MC says that, because the people go, oh, okay, cool. Like I don't need to be capturing content.
And I think that's such an asset. And as a wedding photographer, it's definitely sometimes annoying when there's like a lot of people bringing their phones out when they're walking down the aisle, or there's just these key moments and there's some auntie with her iPad and just telling people, just put it down, just be in the moment, enjoy. We've got it covered. Someone else is on this with like their professional cameras and the phone footage. Is there like a type of couple or bride that should book you? Is this like just for influencers or people that are content creators, or what kind of clients are booking you for their wedding?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think there's a misconception around, oh, like I don't need a content creator because I am not an influencer, but actually it's for everyone. And one of my latest Zoom calls with a girl, she said, I actually am not on social media. I don't have social media. I don't post on social media, but I just want you for the behind the scenes content. It's like, I don't want to forget any moments. And so that was really cool to see that there is such a range of clients, from people that really want to be able to post, the very morning they wake up, to one of my other clients that waited a few days and then posted the next week. And so then to this other person that is just super like, I don't actually post on social media, and so she just wants it for her own footage and to send it off to people because it's really easy to send. And so I think that also the great thing is that you get to, how there's always that one person that posts the photo of you as the bride and they post it before anyone else, and you're like, no, they've just spoiled it for everyone. Whereas with a wedding content creator, you can actually post it that next morning and beat your auntie to it, because your auntie's probably going to post the next day on Facebook. So you can beat her by actually posting good content as well. Posting that highlights reel because it's all edited and ready for you to go that next morning. But yeah, no, you don't have to be an influencer. If you are an influencer, great. But yeah, you can just be anyone that wants behind the scenes content, that really just wants to capture their whole wedding day.
So much value for everyone, and definitely something you should think about. The wedding industry landscape is always changing. And yeah, do you see this as becoming more of a staple thing in the wedding industry, and yeah, like growing this area, especially in New Zealand?
Definitely. I think the more that people are on their phones and capturing content themselves, the more they get accustomed to that lo-fi iPhone quality. And for people, they want to be able to post, or they want to be able to print or have like a printed book with all their beautiful professional photos. But actually, on their Instagrams, they might just want to have iPhone quality to match their grid, depending on if they're the kind of aesthetic person like I am, where they want to have everything matching the same quality. And I think it is becoming really popular, especially on TikTok, because you want to be able to post that portrait video, whereas the videographer, and while I absolutely love them, I think they're key for your special day, is that it is landscape, and so you can't really crop it. Whereas you can get this beautiful portrait video, you can post it straight away, and people are on TikTok and they're on Reels, and that's how they're pushing their content out, and that's how they're wanting to share their special day with people, is through the short form, easy to digest. Sometimes people don't want to sit down and watch 10 minutes of your wedding. They might just want to watch 12 seconds. And so that's a really great way to kind of give people a taste of your special day, is going, here, this is what the highlights were. You get to choose what you want. You could say, yeah, I want one that's a long highlights video, but one that's a really short highlights video that's like 30 seconds long. That's really easy to digest, and it's probably more likely to go viral on TikTok because it's really short. I want one of me getting ready. I want one of the guys getting ready. So you get to literally choose, and it's totally up to you, which is really cool and you can also add your songs that you want. So it's super, super flexible to your way of how you like to digest content, how you like to kind of relive the content from your special day.
So you are not married yourself yet, but you've been to your fair share of weddings. You've been a bridesmaid. You've been involved and seen a lot of the behind the scenes. So do you have any advice for couples planning their wedding at the moment?
Yes, yeah. I've got 4 points. Number one is, don't forget lunch for your bridesmaids, because I've been there where they forget to feed you and you're starving and you're a bridesmaid and you're like, they've just forgotten. It slipped their mind, because the bride doesn't really want to eat, but actually your bridesmaids do. And so please don't forget. The best a meal that I've seen was sushi, because it's just really easy to eat. You don't need to have a big meal. You're messing up your makeup. You can just eat it, and it's really fulfilling. So please don't forget about the bridesmaids for lunch, because it is key. And also the bride needs to eat as well. It needs to be, yeah, you do need to eat, regardless of how nervous you are.
Especially if you're drinking.
Yeah, exactly. Number two is a grazing table after the ceremony. I think that is such a great way to make people happy, because they're finished after a ceremony and they just want to snack and just kind of graze, and they want to be able to talk to people around food. So if you are thinking of, oh, what food option, a grazing table is really, really good. It's such a great way to, it's also very aesthetic. It's a great way for me to be able to get some cool shots as a wedding content creator as well. So definitely recommend a grazing table. Number three is, give guests things to do in between when you're taking photos and in between the ceremony and the reception. There's quite often they just forget about what are your guests going to do, and so you're just sitting there for a few hours. So yeah, kind of take that into account and think about some games, think about things for people to do. And number four is one of my pet peeves, is give yourself more time for photos. Don't allow yourself half an hour. You need more time, because you want to be able to travel. Don't plan it all around that sunset. Just move it slightly earlier to make sure that you have got enough time, because that is what you're really going to remember, is because that's where you're going to get the key photos. So give yourself more time. Move back your ceremony just a little bit and give yourself more than half an hour. But those are my 4 tips. Yeah.
Great advice. I've definitely seen all of that kind of happen, just forgetting about food, and then rushing around. And yeah, you really have to think about your guests, like they're there to
Mm,
celebrate you, and yeah, you need to look after them, plan some
definitely.
entertainment, or and definitely I think important with all of those, just talking to your wedding vendors about
Mm,
all of that. And yeah, when it comes to photos and stuff, just the whole timeline, they'll be able to give you advice. And yeah, thinking about, do we want to drive half an hour to our
exactly.
photo location and then spend an hour, but your guests are waiting that whole time?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, factoring that in, making a plan together. Well, I think that's going to be amazing for our audience to hear about that. And yeah, just educating people more about getting a content creator. And it's definitely going to be a great addition to your day. And so, how can people find Dear Brides and get in touch with you?
So, Dear Brides, I think the best way if you want to see kind of the portfolio would be online, on TikTok, on Instagram. Instagram is probably the best way. A lot of people are like, oh, send me your portfolio, whereas Dear Brides is very much short form content. So while we can send you a document, the best way for you to actually see the essence of Dear Brides is through Instagram to see the short form reels. So Dear Brides NZ on Instagram. Otherwise, you can have a look, Dear Brides NZ on Google. It will divert you to a page called Seven Content Studio. So Dear Brides sits under Seven Content Studio, so it will divert you to that page. And yeah, you can have a look at more details, learn about lo-fi content. Lo-fi content is basically, iPhone quality content, and kind of it's more of an education piece. There's also a blog post on there about more about what is a wedding content creator, what can you expect, what is the difference between a wedding content creator and your friend. Like, why should I pay to get someone when I could just get my friend? There are 5 different ways that I've spoken about on my blog post about the benefits of getting someone that you can just dedicate to that time. One thing I didn't mention as well is that I shoot on camcorder as well, and so it really gives that authentic home video vibes. And not many other people own camcorders these days, and so that is one of the selling points for a lot of people, is they say that they actually want me purely for the camcorder. That is an additional, but we can work out that. Again, the packages are very flexible. And then also there's a Kodak film option, and so we take film photos, which was really fun in one of my last weddings. They just gave me one of their Kodaks, and so I shot away, and that was really cool because they got so much content in different formats. They got about 6 different formats of their content, and they loved it. And they're not huge social media people, but I think they just loved having all of that content so they can just reminisce, in the different ways, the short form, the long form, professional shots. And so yeah, that's really cool. But I think definitely have a look online, educate yourself through the blog posts. There's quite a few blog posts out there because it's such this rising trend. There is a lot of information out there. But yeah, and if you've got any questions, let me know, and I'd love to jump on a call.
I have definitely seen that bit of a trend coming through of that dad cam footage, and it's so cool. It's just like going back to, yeah, I don't know, I'm a 90s baby, so it's really like nostalgic. And yeah, I love that. And then the film vibes as well, such a beautiful look. I've been shooting a bit of film alongside my work as well, and just something different about it, being able to capture that. I love the going back to analog processes now.
So stunning. That's cool. I think everyone is really loving that. Who would have thought that we would go back to camcorder vibes, like the old kind of grainy, the real like rigid zoom when you're zooming into like times 60. Like, who would have thought? But we love it, and people love it, and it's just cool to see that it's made this comeback.
Yeah, there's just places for both, like the
Mm,
high res photos and then yeah, lo-fi sort of thing. So I love it. It goes hand in hand.
definitely, definitely.
Lastly, if we can go into a couple of your other ventures quickly, because
Yeah.
I feel like people will be interested as well. If you can talk a little bit more about Dare Community, you sort
Mhm.
of explain that brides or people looking for community that are in that sort of 20s 30s age range, yeah, how can they get involved with that, and what sort of things do you do?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, like I briefly said before, is that D community is for age 18 to 35-year-old women that can come together and just hang out and meet. And I think the thing is with me is like, I I'm 24, but I still want to go out and play laser tag and go to escape rooms. But it is so hard to rope all your friends in together and organize a date. And so I was like, why don't I create something where I can go and do all these things with strangers and then become friends with them? And so it kind of started from, oh, cool, like I should do this in Auckland. And then it really quickly grew to, hang on, like this should be in New Zealand. This should be worldwide. And so I kind of grew a little bit too fast where I launched in Australia, then launched in London, launched in Berlin, and then realized that I was absolutely drowning in having to manage everything. And so I've pulled back on Europe and put a pause on Australia, even though Australia was doing well. But in terms of New Zealand, there's, like I said, there's 16 different cities with over 35 different leaders. So we've got leaders in different cities that organize monthly events, and then I post them on the page, Dear Community NZ on Instagram. It's all on Instagram. So it kind of gives that really aesthetic, fun vibe. We're not on Facebook. We don't have a Facebook group because that's more targeted for older people. We really want to come across as, raw and authentic, but cool, like cool vibes. We want to make meeting strangers and like we want to make it fun for people and cool rather than being weird. Because sometimes when you think about it, it's like, hang on, I'm going to an event with strangers. It could seem kind of weird. So yeah, we want to break that. We want to actually show people that they can have fun with people that they don't know and actually form friendships. And I was chatting with a girl today that I met through Dear Community, and I went out for a walk with her, and she said, yeah, I'm going to the Gold Coast with a girl that I met at Dear Community, and I'm meeting another girl from Dear Community, and she's going to join us over there. And I was like, this is so cool. People are really they're really loving it, and they are forming friendships and relationships because there's such a need for it. And so yeah, if you're a bride that is wanting to meet more friends, if you're moving after you get married, you're moving to another city, which is quite common, then yeah, join Dear Community. There's so many different groups. We've got a book club as well. But yeah, it's just such a great way to come together, hang out. We've got a range of different events, from walks to ski trips to weekend away summer batch trips, to the pools. There's so much that we do. So, and it's a non-profit organization, and we're basically, the reason why we're doing what we're doing is purely just to bring people together, and that's our whole heart, is just to kind of fulfill that need, because there is the mental health in New Zealand is really struggling. And I heard this crazy stat. I was listening to the Diary of a CEO, and he said that being lonely is equivalent to smoking half a pack of cigarettes per day. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it. The repercussions of being lonely is really bad for your health, and so that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just fill that need, really.
And that's so incredible. And yeah, like you say, so much of life is just lived online now. But yeah, actually meeting up in person, making genuine connections, it's so important. It's incredible.
Definitely.
Really admire what you're doing there.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, talking about mental health as well, I think the Dear the Series journals that you do are amazing. And I think like people planning weddings at the moment, especially, that can be a super stressful period of your life. And it can affect your mental health and just, yeah, feel overwhelming, or you might be getting pressured by family, or yeah, having struggling with money and everything like that. So yeah, the can you talk a bit about the journals?
Well, I guess like a lot of the people that are listening are brides that are going to be getting married, and so their future is going to look very different to what it was. So one of our books is called Dear Future, and it looks at your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10 year, and your 20-year goals. And so I guess for brides, it's a great way for them to sit down and go, actually, like, how is my life going to change? One of the questions is, what might I miss from my like from myself that was 1 year ago. Can't remember how it was worded, but and it's really cool to think, hang on, like I shouldn't be sad in this season. I should be excited and happy rather than always like looking forward. But it's also really, really important that you do look forward and plan for the future, and plan for, okay, if you and your partner want to own a house in 5 years time, okay, how are we going to get there? Because actually that needs planning. And so Dear Future goes through, how are you going to get there? What things do you need to put in place to reach those goals? It also looks at different goals, not just monetary goals, but it looks at your friendship goals. Who are the kind of people that you want to have in your life in 5 years' time? Who are the people that you hope that you've left behind? What are the things you hope you've left behind? And it's really cool to be able to just dive into what do you truly want for yourself in your future. So that's Dear Future. That's been out for a year. You can buy it in the likes of AC Home Store, Shut the Front Door. You can also get it online at Dear the Series. And it's just such a cool way to reflect on your future. And then it's a cool way to also look back when you wrote it and go, wow, like, you know, this is what I thought I was going to do. And yeah, I achieved it, or I actually did a lot more than I thought. So that's really cool, and it holds you accountable. And it's a beautiful book as well. It's very aesthetic, and it's designed to also be a coffee table book as well. So you can put it out, and it looks very beautiful. It's got a linen cover. This is Dear Future, and then this is Dear Me. And I just launched Dear Me. So Dear Me came out last week, and Dear Me is very much self-reflection on what makes you the person that you are. Did you go through trauma when you were younger? How has it affected who you are today? Were you accepted by your parents when you were younger? And if not, how has it affected you? And all these questions that make you think like, wow, how has those experiences and moments shaped the person that I am? And it's really much a reflective, it kind of makes you learn about yourself from the inside out. And yeah, it's such a great book. It's very deep, very, very deep. One of the questions is, who is someone I wish I never met? Like, it really makes you think about things in your life that maybe you've just like tried to push down, but it actually makes you relive them and help you work out, maybe has that actually caused me to have bitterness towards someone because I've been pushing down that thing in my life. So yeah, they're very cool in the sense that they're very aesthetic and they're groovy, but also they mean so much, and they really are journals to help you kind of learn more about yourself. So yeah, it's my little venture.
That's so cool. I love what you're doing. And I think, yeah, everyone can benefit from that. It's definitely so important. And yeah, for everyone that's getting married, this is a big life change. And it often does come along with maybe moving house, or maybe having kids pretty soon after, or yeah, moving cities and stuff. So yeah, amazing for that period of life. And yeah, while you're in this planning process, just yeah, sitting down and reflecting a bit. Thank you so much for coming on. That is amazing. I've loved yeah, you sharing about all the different things, and Dear Brides as well. We'll tag all your social media links and everything in the show notes and socials, so everyone can find you and go have a look at yeah, all your ventures. Busy woman, so amazing. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on the pod.
No worries. Thank you so much. It was such an honor, and I absolutely loved chatting to you. And hopefully, your listeners have learned something today.